The case for a $10,000 XRP. Is it even possible? In this video, I'm going to address the mechanisms that could potentially drive us towards that price point, but also address one of the key issues that is surrounding the XRP community right now, and it's not the lawsuit. Hit the like button and let's get into this video. Now guys, my channel has just hit 35,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for that. And to honor this exciting time, I'm giving away $100 of your favorite cryptocurrency. All you got to do is subscribe, hit the like button, and write down below in the comments your favorite crypto that you wish to get paid out in, and I'll announce a winner probably tomorrow or on Tuesday. Now without further ado, let's address this $10,000 XRP elephant in the room that I hear bandied around across one of the most passionate cryptocurrency communities, which is of course the XRP Army. Now guys, I know it's a Sunday and the markets are pretty much so boring right now because Bitcoin is barely moving. It does indicate a big move is on the horizon. And that means that most people watching these videos will be more experienced and have done more research into crypto in the past, because it's the very nature of how it works when the markets are quiet. So I commend you for that. But let's just assume that you aren't really sure about how Ripple works, because it's important to understand what I'm going to talk about next. Ripple's XRP has been brought in as a way to replace the SWIFT payment systems for institutional money. Okay, institutions being businesses, banks, etc. Now, to simply put it, in the way it really works is, if I want to send money to someone in America, I want to send GBP because I'm in the UK, and they want to receive US dollars because they're in America. It can cause a bit of problems through the traditional banking system. It does take a long time and it is pretty expensive. So through Ripple, I would be able to send my fiat currency, which will then get converted into XRP. The XRP will then get sent from my Ripple XRP wallet, and it will then be received at the other end, where it will be converted into US dollars. Person at the other end gets their US dollars, I get to pay them in GBP, and it's all extremely cheap, and it takes like 3 or 4 seconds. Now, if you are subscribed to my channel, which hopefully by now you are, you will understand that the whole point in crypto, and the whole thing that really gives value to a cryptocurrency, isn't like just because it sounds like it's amazing and it's got an incredible team and they have this partnership and that partnership and all of these amazing... Shut up, okay? All it simply is supply and demand, okay? That's why we get like frog tokens and dog tokens and stuff going to the moon. Supply and demand. People want to buy it and there's less of it available. Simple thing, okay? Now, obviously it does help if you've got decent partnerships and all that other legacy crap that like Ripple does have in spades. But there's a massive argument that like Ripple's going to be worth loads of money because trillions of dollars are traded every day in Forex, which is true. And you're going to need like millions and millions of XRP tokens to be able to facilitate those payments. Now, here's a massive problem for this situation. And it is because those payments will only last 3 or 4 seconds, which means the demand on the XRP token could be potentially very, very brief, which could cause great pumps and dumps in the price. Let me give you an example of this. Let's say we're back in like 2013 when the Bitcoin price, I don't know what it was in 2013. Let's just say for ease of conversation, it was $300, okay? I haven't got a chart out, I can't remember, okay? So $300. And you wanted to go and buy this house, which is, I believe, down in Cornwall in the southwest UK, quite a famous house, around 6 or 7 million pounds. But let's just say $8 million. For ease of use, okay? It's about $9 million for all the mathematicians who want to call me out down below in the comments. $9 million, and I want to buy it in Bitcoin, and a Bitcoin's worth like $300. Well, the problem with doing this is if I want to make that payment in Bitcoin, suddenly it's going to have a massive demand on the Bitcoin network, and back in like 2013 or something, it would probably cause a massive spike in the price of Bitcoin while that kind of transaction, etc., is going through, until it's suddenly traded out for something else, and then the price of Bitcoin will drop. However, right now, if I was to make that same payment in Bitcoin, bearing in mind the Bitcoin price is significantly higher, currently sat around like $29,000 at the time of making this video, and obviously with a much larger market cap, you would probably not see a huge amount of fluctuation at all. I mean, today you might because the volume is incredibly low, but on an average normal day, you know, an $8 million, $10 million trade on Bitcoin isn't necessarily anything particularly massive. It doesn't cause a huge amount of fluctuation, to which many people in the XRP camp have now sort of started to identify that XRP must eventually be worth $10,000 in the future. And this guy, David Schwartz, who is Ripple's CTO, or Chief Technical Officer, who doesn't look particularly technical, no disrespect to the man, I'm sure he is extremely technical, he basically made a reference to this, saying, obviously on the current model of XRP being worth like 50, 60 cents, it means that it can't really kind of operate as it is meant to operate, which means that, the argument for like the $10,000 where everyone's like, oh, the price must be much higher because then XRP is going to work, is something that is slightly worrying to think about, because it kind of indicates that maybe XRP in its current situation can't operate as it is meant to operate in the future, because it will cause huge volatility. However, I want you to consider something else. Now, guys, in the last year, if you weren't already aware, before I moved back to the sunny United Kingdom, I was living in Bali, Indonesia, where I had a UK bank account, and I was trying to pay my Greek landlord, who had a Greek EU bank account, living in Indonesia, through fiat currency. It meant that each month I had to pay an extra like £35 to be able to pay my rent, which is like $40, $45, I believe. And that ended up being very expensive. But that's just me trying to pay one payment. And I want to bring in a real life scenario from a company that is existing. Now, we do have a few companies like this in the world, which have taken over more recently, the likes of Uber, the likes of Airbnb. And I'm going to talk about Airbnb as an example, who is a global business with all sorts of individuals around the world paying in different currencies. This creates a bit of a problem for the company of Airbnb, and the same is true for Uber and various others. Now, in order for an individual to pay Airbnb, they can pay in a variety of different currencies. Now, this is a bit of a problem for Airbnb, because Airbnb then needs to take the payment and then needs to pass it on to the homeowner or the flat owner or whatever it is. Now, this means that there is a number of different transactions that have to happen all the way along. This means that it's more expensive for you as an individual trying to make the payment to stay in that hotel or that whatever it is next week. And it's more expensive for Airbnb once they've received the payment to be able to transfer that payment on. So a solution like Ripple would be extremely beneficial for Airbnb. So there comes the predicament of this volatile solution and what XRP's solution is to perhaps drive that price up higher. And there's something that I've heard other people talking about, which did actually make me think this could be potentially something that really works as a catalyst for XRP's growth. And that is to encourage people such as Airbnb and Uber, or businesses such as Airbnb and Uber and the major banks and other financial institutions, to buy and hold a good chunk of XRP tokens. That means that instead of that ecosystem running on those XRP tokens transferring from one place to another, I hold my own XRP tokens, and therefore I'm limited on the cost of transactions that I receive. Someone pays me in GBP, and then I can transfer that payment across in my Ripple tokens to pay out in US dollar or whatever it is around the world. This means that I'm basically holding up part of the Ripple network through my Airbnb business. Sadly, I don't own Airbnb. I wish I did. And if you think about lots of other institutions out there starting to be like, well, I can massively reduce the cost of my transactions by holding XRP, and if XRP is then approaching these businesses and encouraging them to buy by offering them cheap prices on XRP, well, then we start to get into a situation where companies are incentivized to hold XRP tokens and therefore to limit their costs and basically benefit from the whole ecosystem. You, the user, will benefit, the person providing the service will also benefit, and then the intermediary, which effectively Ripple is acting as the intermediary for the payment solution, is also going to benefit as well. Now, there are a lot of problems with that as I see it, because effectively you need Ripple to be able to go and convince people that this is a way for them to benefit from using this payment solution. And we have seen a huge amount of interest in this around the world. And yet this is the XRP chart, and currently the XRP price sits at 62 cents. Now, we know that there is potentially enough trade in the world that for a moment in time we could see potentially an XRP with a value of $10,000 or more. The massive concern or question on anyone's mind right now is, if XRP is all it's cracked up to be, and it is going to be the future payment solution for pretty much the world as we know it, well, why are businesses not starting to accumulate XRP in any significant volume? And to all those people who are like, well, yes, they are, look at all these partnerships and whatever, you could tell that they're not, because I can see the price and you can see the price, and you will have to agree with me that it's not really moving very much. And yes, you could say it's because of this potential for appeal on this court case and, you know, all the future drama that's still unfolding in XRP. I do think that XRP has potentially one of the most enormous futures as a cryptocurrency, but I don't think anything is at all guaranteed in this entire space as we know it, because there's lots of other people who will perhaps stand to miss out and lose out if XRP currently becomes the payment solution for like the global institutional money. And I want to talk about something else which is kind of having me concerned as well, because lots of people are like very blinded to kind of everything else that's going on around them. They just assume that, oh, because the service that they can provide is better and all of these different things, and it's going to be cheaper and all these other things mean it's just going to happen. I wanted to address this, which is the electric car. Now, I know that right now there are Teslas and stuff coming in. You can go and buy your Teslas, and you know, there is a number of electric cars, and in some countries there's more than others. But for like 20 years, there's probably been the technology in existence where you could create electric cars or decent enough electric vehicles. Okay? There's far more advanced tech out there that could do other things. And you might be like, oh, well, what about the batteries? Right. Just cut to the chase. It was controlled, let's be honest, by something much bigger than people who are going to benefit from electric cars, and that is the oil companies. And there is other companies in the world that are also pretty massive who do have a big say in how things work. And again, I'm not going to get into your like conspiracy theories. The earth is round. Don't hate me, okay, for saying that. But ultimately, guys, there is other things at work that stand to lose out massively if you have an organization like XRP coming in and replacing the current financial systems, okay? Or current financial payment systems, or whatever you want to call it, TradeFi, okay? So you have to kind of identify that there are so many other factors out there that will interrupt the potential of XRP reaching, you know, $90, $100, $10,000, whatever it is. Does it have the ability to reach $10,000? Yes, if you go and do the maths, the market cap and all that will be absolutely insane, but there is enormous amounts of cash around the world that this potentially could work to solve that solution. And if they were able to onboard tons of people and tons of organizations who are able to like hold that crypto and bring it out of supply and basically manage the supply like that, then you could see a absolutely catastrophic rally in the price of XRP. But I feel like people holding like 90% of their portfolio, maybe 100% of portfolio in XRP is pretty rogue and not something that necessarily I will be doing. I, however, do hold some XRP because I do see that there is a good future for this cryptocurrency. But like anything, don't be blinded by the things you want to hear because of confirmation bias. Go and look at all the different possibilities out there to identify whether or not you really think that this is possible for XRP. Because if it is, then you don't really need a huge amount of money to jump in at 62 cents with. You can just chuck in a bit and then see what happens. I do think that it's going to break from this descending wedge at some point, but who knows? We could have another couple of years sat in waiting for something to happen because of all this drama that's happening behind the scenes. And question yourself, why do you think all that drama is happening behind the scenes? And why is this crypto getting such a hard time compared to every other crypto out there that seems to be floating on by with no real issues? That's my 2 cents on XRP for today. And today's video, I'm glad to say, is sponsored by Grape, which is a very first Web4 infrastructure for a decentralized internet. This is a crypto that's currently in pre-sale, although it's also available on the Bitmart exchange at a much higher price. So if you want to lock in a much lower price and get 10% additional tokens, you can do that through the link down below in the description. It's a brand new ecosystem that is based on a DAG, which is a direct-to-acyclic graph, similar to the way that hbar and other coins like Casper work. Can do up to 700 transactions per second. And it's basically going to link up Web 2 and Web 3 protocols. It also incorporates AI through Vine and Ann, which allowed non-technical people like yourself and myself to build dApps, decentralized applications, onto a Web 3 environment by using AI. So no coding experience required. This is something that's very cool, and it adds massively to the Web 3 overall functionality, as you can see here. And that's something that's very exciting. Obviously, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go and buy this. Definitely go and do some research on it. It's a very interesting project. Loads of cool stuff going on. And yes, it's being advertised everywhere. And yes, this is a paid sponsorship, but I've got to feed myself somehow, guys. So don't hate the player, hate the game. Hit the like button, subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.